Hello and welcome to Toolbox Tuesday, a little session where I share tips, tricks, hacks, resources, just little things that have helped me along my oily journey, and maybe they'll help you too. Today I'm talking about one of my favourite books, and it is the Essential Emotions book. This is actually an older edition. I think there's a 9th edition is the current one, and the cover on it's almost exactly the same. It's just like a blue and a green instead of purple and green. This book is incredible it kind of bridges that gap between the physical uses of the oils and the emotional uses for oils. And I've been meaning to make a video on it for ages because I wanted to talk you through the process that I actually use with this book. And I was about to look up a problem I've been having with my shoulder. And see if there was any emotional or psychological reasons for it giving me problems. So as a bit of a background, maybe 5 months ago, I actually tore a tendon in my shoulder, which was incredibly painful, and anybody who has had a shoulder injury, I feel you, because it was horrible. And I've done all the work for repairing that. I've worked with a physio, I've worked with an exercise physiologist for months, and it's pretty much there, like so far as being healed. But every now and then it gives me a real twinge, and I know it's healed. I know I've done the work to support the muscles and all the rest of it to strengthen it back up, but it just keeps every now and then giving me a little niggle, and I was in the back of my mind thinking, okay, so maybe it's a psychological thing. It's not actually there's no physical injury there anymore. And in comes this book. So this book is really comprehensive, and it talks you through how to use it. So the short version is that it lists all the oils and all the blends, and it gives you the emotional properties of them. And it's very insightful actually in the way it talks through how the oils can impact your emotions, what oils to use to invite in certain emotions or to help support you working through certain emotions and all that kind of thing. But if you do get your hands on this book, and if you're using essential oils, I highly recommend that you do. It actually talks through the 5 stages of healing, of emotional healing. It talks through how to use the oils. It talks through how to use the actual book, and it's got different sections apart from the single oils and the blends in there and all their emotional properties. It also talks through all your body systems and what different ailments or different issues in certain parts of your body can represent emotionally. So I thought, what have I got to lose? I'll look up shoulder and see what it says. So you're going to go on this little journey with me while I figure out what oil I should be using to support my emotions behind having a shoulder injury. So I've gone to a section, I don't know, hang on, let me put it this way. You can see it's got all the little different sections. Oh, you probably can't see because I've got all my little tabs in there. I've gone to the section on body systems, and I will just look up shoulder. Okay, so shoulders. Shoulders represents the burdens that one is carrying. That's the emotional root of shoulder issues, according to this book. The underlying emotions are anxious, overwhelmed, and overworked. Let me just say those 3 words again: anxious, overwhelmed, and overworked. That kind of pretty much sums up my 2020 in a nutshell. So I don't know, maybe suddenly the shoulder pain isn't, such a surprise. And then what it wants you to look deeper into is, am I carrying burdens that are not my own? Am I anxious about or protecting myself against the future? I don't know about you, but I think with the year that we've just had, yeah, definitely I've been anxious about the future for a lot of reasons, like not just professionally, not just with my work, but like with everything, absolutely everything. My next step then is to look up, so those three emotions, I can look them up in the emotions section and see what oils support them. And the way I do it is if I connect with all three words, and I think, yeah, or all the emotions, because sometimes there's more or less. If I connect with those all, I read through all of them and see if there is an oil that's common to all of them, and then that's the one that I'll use. So let's have a look at anxious. Yeah, I think so many people have been feeling anxious. People who aren't naturally, some people experience a lot of anxiety a lot more than others. But I think in the last year, it would be fair to say that every single person has experienced anxiety at some point. So this will be an interesting one. Oops, that's body systems. That's why I can't find anxious. Anxious. Okay, so we are looking at adaptive, which is an amazing blend. Basil, neroli, past tense, console, lavender peace, and amavi. What do I fear? What do I feel I need to control, and why? Yeah, I think with the complete lack of control that we've all been feeling, that's pretty understandable. What are the other ones? Overworked and overworked says C, workaholic. Me, I'm not a workaholic. What? This book doesn't do anything, man. Okay, workaholic. Wild orange, ylang-ylang, tangerine, basil, past tense, and cedarwood. Am I running away from something that I do not want to confront? What will it take for me to recognise what is off balance in my life? Am I using my work to escape pain? That's interesting. I know I use my work to avoid doing renovations on the house. Okay, overwhelmed. Basil, aromatouch, rescuer, past tense, digestion, tangerine, melissa, red mandarin, lavender peace, yarrow pom, and tamer. And the questions again, what am I trying to control? Do I trust that help outside myself is readily available? So the ones that I've seen are common in those are basil and past tense, and lavender peace came up a couple of times as well. So let's look at basil and see I'll read you actually. Let me grab my basil first. I love the smell of basil. Like it's a really fresh smell. It just reminds me of pesto. Pesto and bruschetta and pizza. Yeah, I like that one. I'm going to like working with that. So, basil. Here we go. Basil is the oil of renewal. The symptoms of adrenal exhaustion help identify the main moods that are improved with basil. Primarily fatigue, low energy, being overwhelmed, and the inability to cope with life's stresses. The smell of basil oil brings strength to the heart and relaxation to the mind. This oil is also excellent for states of nervousness, anxiousness, and despair. Basil oil supports those who are under a great deal of mental strain. It brings rejuvenation of vital forces after long periods of burnout and exhaustion. Basil oil may strengthen the adrenals and restore the body to its natural rhythms of sleep, activity and rest. I have been so out of whack with that stuff lately, like incredibly out of whack. I'm an early bird. I love going to bed early and I'll get up early. And what's been happening is my going to bed time has been like getting later and later and later. And I just don't sleep well. Like I use the sleep cycle app on my phone and, you know, track my sleep quality. And seriously, if I go to bed after sort of 10:15, my sleep quality is shit. Even if I still get like my 8 or 9 hours sleep. I like sleep. Where was I up to? Basil oil is also helpful for recovery from negative habits. It gives, hopefully, maybe I could use it to give up coffee then. I don't know if it's the coffee or the sugar in the coffee, to be honest. It gives hope and optimism to the tired soul. Basil may assist an individual in giving up false stimulants. Okay. By increasing natural energy, it helps individuals to achieve greater balance and health. In short, basil is indicated for those who are weary in mind and body, and for those in need of strength and renewal. I like basil. I like that. I feel like that's all stuff that would help me. I feel like I don't know, maybe it's just because I really love the smell of it. So negative emotions, the things that it'll help you move through or away from. Anxious, overwhelmed, drained, exhausted and negative habits. And the positive properties, or the things that it helps you to bring in, energized, renewed, rejuvenated, rested and strengthened. And then it's got it lists the companion oils. So those are oils that it blends well with and sort of help to support that whole process in different ways as well. So, and then it gives you some little ideas on how to use it. So for me, I will pretty much just use it in the diffuser. Anytime, even if I'm wanting to diffuse something else, I'll just add a drop of basil in there and see what happens. The other thing that you can do is apply it directly to the part of your body that's giving you problems. So I could pop that. In fact, what I think I'll do, because past tense was one of the other ones that was mentioned, and it's great for pain. So I might just layer past tense and basil onto my shoulder and see how that works out. Yeah, so fantastic book. It is, like I said, it's really insightful. It's beautifully laid out from the point of view that it talks you through the process. So even if you have no idea how to use essential oils to support your emotional health, then this is definitely the best tool that I know of to just talk you through that process and guide you through it. And it's got so much information in there. The other thing that is a compliment to the book is they have an essential oil wheel, and this is an old one, I'm actually not even sure. This might be like a version 7, I think, maybe. Anyhow, it has, on one side it has the positive emotions, and on the other side it has negative emotions. And what's really interesting is that at a really high level, it has like the high level emotions around there, and then it deep dives into each one of them to kind of go down to that next layer, so their underlying emotions. And when you first start working through with understanding your emotions and kind of, you know, taking a step back and looking at what they are, I think we all identify with what that inner circle is, those high level emotions. And when you go and look at that next layer down and you begin to really investigate what it is, like for example, under fear, like we all know what fear feels like, but what's that actual underlying current to that? Like if you want to be more specific about what is the fear. So here they talk about scarcity, distrust, guarded, hiding, anxiety or terrified, and each one of those has a different oil that corresponds to it. So it takes you down, you know, a little bit of a rabbit hole, but at the same time it is so it's so empowering to have that deeper understanding. I was a little bit worried that when I started using oils for emotions that it would take me down a really deep dark rabbit hole, and like suddenly I'd be delving into things that just were too much. But if you use the book as it tells you how to use it, it's actually a really enlightening and empowering process to go through. So I'm very keen to see anyway what Basil does for my shoulder. Also, it's available as an app as well. I don't actually have the app on my phone. It's kind of, I don't know why, I like using the book. I'm a tactile person. I want to touch and flick the pages and stuff, but it is available as an app as well if you're that way inclined. And I will find out, I think the 9th edition, like the current one, may actually be out of stock in a lot of places in Australia at the moment, but I'll pop links to where I normally get it from, and if I can find it online, I'll pop links as well into the description or the comments of the video. One other thing that's really interesting, I find this quite fascinating, is that whenever I'm talking to somebody else about essential oils and emotions, and not so much in the last 12 months because we can't kind of do the knee-to-knee, face-to-face thing as much, but if I have someone here and I'm talking through what it is they're going through and what kind of support they need, whenever you hand this wheel to someone and ask them to look at it and see if there are emotions they identify with, probably 98% of people go to the negative side first, which I find really interesting. Like, not many people will pick it up and look at what they want to move towards. Interesting, eh? Like, we put our energy into our negative emotions rather than the positive ones. So that's something that I personally have been kind of working on a lot more. If I'm going through something, I try and think about, rather than being stuck in where I am, I think about what is it that I want to be feeling? What is it that I want to invite into my life? And aromatic dressing is something that I use for that every morning. If you don't know what aromatic dressing is, ask me and I'll tell you all about it, because that is a fantastic little ritual that takes a few minutes and it can change your whole day. So that's that. Emotions, essential emotions. Like I said, 9th edition, this is an 8th edition. But yeah, I'll post links, and hopefully if you're using essential oils, you'll get that book and it will become one of your all-time faves. Have an amazing day.